Yesterday, Nintendo finally put to rest the endless leaks and rumours about the NX and announced the console known as the Nintendo Switch. Today there's been a couple of extra pieces of information as well as some interesting comments from analysts about the console. So first of all, what I want to touch on is the fact that Nintendo are refusing to say one way or the other whether or not this particular console has a touchscreen. Now I would expect the answer is no, to be honest. Just looking at the device and how it was used in the trailer, I would not expect to see touchscreen capability, but as I said, it is entirely possible that it does. Nintendo are not saying one way or the other. And they've said, quote, "We have nothing to announce on this topic. We will make additional announcements about the Nintendo Switch hardware later before the launch of the product." Now, another thing that I want to touch on is the inclusion of a couple of games in the trailer, that being, of course, Skyrim and NBA 2K17. Now, when speaking to gamesindustry.biz, Bethesda stopped short of confirming the game we already saw running on the Switch. So basically, we don't know for sure that Skyrim is coming out on the Switch, which is kind of misleading, to be honest, because I've seen a lot of people getting hyped up about that fact. So it doesn't mean that it's not coming out on the Switch, it just means that because it was in the trailer doesn't mean it definitely is, and the same is for NBA 2K17. And Bethesda said, quote, "We're happy to have had the opportunity to collaborate with Nintendo on the video. While we are not confirming any specific titles at this time, we are pleased to announce our partnership with Nintendo and support of the Switch. We look forward to revealing specific games and details in the future." So basically, we don't know whether or not it has touchscreen. I don't know why they're being so cagey, just say yes or no. If it doesn't have touchscreen, okay, fine. I think that would actually make perfect sense. It doesn't look like it would really fit touchscreen. If it's yes, alright, that's weird, but okay. And, you know, we need more details soon. The reveal video was great, but they needed to build on that momentum and not be so cagey about answers. You know, the fact that they let so many rumours swirl around about the console for months is silly, as I've said many times. And yes, it was a trailer and everything else, but I still think it's a little bit dodgy that, you know, we were showing Skyrim, a very recognisable game, in NBA as well, and neither of them are technically confirmed. Personally, I don't think the game has the device has touchscreen. It would, you know, not really be good for the TV mode, and the dock would not really be all that useful. Now, before I move on to the analysts' comments, another partner that Nintendo do have for the Switch is Epic Games, as Unreal Engine 4 will be partnered with Nintendo to help developers bring games using the engine to the Switch. And Unreal wrote on Twitter, quote, "We're thrilled to partner with Nintendo to help Unreal Engine 4 developers bring their games to Nintendo Switch." Which basically means that Unreal Engine 4 games will be supported by the Switch in theory, which is pretty great. Unreal Engine 4 is, of course, one of the most versatile engines and one of the most used engines, especially Unreal Engine 3, that obviously went for a long time. So that's great news. So let's move on to the analyst comments, shall we? And this is regarding the pricing, which of course we don't know what it is yet. But many people, including myself, are expecting a price tag about $300 to $350. If it's more than that, I'll be very surprised, to be honest. And games industry asked various analysts what they thought. And Michael Pachter said that the answer is understandably within the hardware capabilities of the device. And he said, quote, "Price pretty much depends on specs, and success depends on both price and specs. If the specs are close to the PS4, I think they can price around the same, $249, and at most $299. If specs are weaker, price could be lower." We also have comments from Dr. Serkan Toto, who is an analyst with expertise in the Asian mobile market and is also kind of riding that $300 train. And he said, quote, "It's not impossible by offering the device in multiple versions, i.e. without the home dock. Hardcore video games fan at $299 already get fantastic devices from Sony and Microsoft. The portable gaming use case at scale has been taken over by smart devices." And again, we have another name drop for $300 here from Superdata's Joost van Drunen, who said that it actually would be ideal for them to launch a bundle with the console at $300 with, say, Zelda or Mario Kart. And he said, "I'm hoping they'll keep it under $300, ideally bundled with the Zelda or Mario Kart. Anything over that will severely limit its market potential. The reveal suggests it's competing more significantly with traditional home consoles, but with the edge of mobility." So a slight mix up there. The reveal suggests comment was from Piers Harding Rolls, the head of games research at IHS, so forgive me for that slight mix-up there. And he went on to say, quote, pricing will need to be competitive in this context, and anything over $300 may not be a convincing proposition. So all these analysts who obviously know a lot more about the industry than I do seem to think that $300 is the golden price for the Switch, and to be honest, I agree. With the Pro coming out next month, and of course the PlayStation VR and the PS4 itself, and the Xbox One and the Xbox One S, and Scorpio next year as well. So see, the Switch isn't out till March, so it's going to be dealing with the fact that people know the Scorpio's coming out that year, in holidays of course, but still. So price is critical, to be honest. Price and a really strong games lineup. The specs are definitely important, because while most people care most about the game's lineup, the issue is with development. If you've got a developer and you tell them, the Switch is about as powerful as the PS4, maybe slightly weaker. Okay, that's alright. Already developed for the PS1 and Xbox One, so that's fine. But if you tell them that it's weaker than the PS4 or the Xbox One, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, so I have to develop a special version for your console because it's weaker. Again, that's one of the many issues that the Wii U had. It just lacked the power, and a lot of games just never came to the machine because it just wasn't possible to get a solid frame rate and still have a game that looked good and sold well. So I do think Pacta does have a decent point that the specs are going to be critical, to be honest. I think $300 and around Xbox One/PS4 power is essential, to be honest. If they're targeting that home console market with, of course, the mobility extras thrown in, that's what they need to do. So, a little bit of a Switch roundup there for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.